here, right there, Bene. Yeah, that's just all I'm gonna say. Like, just go out and check her social media. She has a lot of followers, and she's also really good at using assassins, by the way, which is something that a lot of people look up to her for doing. So, like the Lancelot, even the Link. So I'm not so sure if this is going to be the same case for Falcons Vega. Will there be an assassin versus assassin here that we're gonna be seeing in the first game?
So we'll see. I mean, we already see a Nolan being banned out here in the first phase of the draft. So it does give the statement that you said more weight, right? We have a Grok in the first phase of the bans as well.
Oh, yeah.
These are all respect bans towards Onyx Zol. But meanwhile, we have the Luo Yi. Still, up until this point, a high priority mid lane pick that needs to be respected from all teams.
Yeah, it's I would say they did their research like you, Turner. They have their little handy dandy notebook on their side as well. This Grok has been spammed by Jewel, like the roamer hero of Onyx Zol, and she's really good at it. A very high chance of winning the game if she actually has this on her hands. But at the same time, there's also like deadly options like the Minotaur for Jewel that she has been prioritizing as well when it comes to the draft. But I'm not so sure. Like, it seems like the case here for Falcons Vega, they're just gonna respect Jewel, and they're gonna respect Bene at that. They're taking away two of the heroes here of Bene, two of the heroes that she's pretty good at. I think she's also starting to adjust as well to the new patch. So she's been using junglers like the Barretts and the Fredrin as well. So that might also be an option here for Onyx Zol.
Yeah, the latest thing that she picked up was the Nolan and the Martis. But I don't know how the Martis will be doing in this current meta. For utility junglers, we usually see the Baxias as well as the Barretts and the Fredrins.
Oh, yeah.
So let's see how the adjustments are made. We do have a Ling being banned out. We have the last ban coming through from ONIC. But remember, the chip is still open. So many priority heroes are still open. The Matilda is as well. But it looks like they've opted for Novaria. So all these priority heroes have actually been left open, and now Falcon will be able to pick up that first hero.
This fairy tale ended.
Oh, it's a big okay, yeah, that was a really fast pick. Like, usually you'd kind of think about it, right? Like, there's the chip open, there's the Harriet open. What do we take? They pick out the Vexana, kind of like anti-team fights here as well. Of course, care of the Eternal Guard. So I think for Onyx Zol here, they might go for Jewel's hero. I'm thinking like Minotaur, perhaps like Minotaur and maybe Bene's hero already, or like pick up the Fredrin Minotaur. It's also a very good pick. Fredrin Arlot is also a very good answer to like the Vexana here. Someone to engage first, and Onyx Zol is known to be very aggressive, so I think that would be a very good first two picks.
Terizla? Okay,
Wow.
I heard the
the
voice and I'm like, okay, Terizla gonna be picked up earlier on here. I mean, we saw match number 1, it was a flex, but for Onyx Zol, I don't think we've seen it being flexed just yet. I might be wrong, but Kim, do you have any insight on this?
Yeah, the Terizla, I think it might be, they're kind of saving up the hero here of Jewel. So they kind of want to see what Falcons Vega will bring out first to kind of see what Jewel has to put out here. And with the chip being open, like what you mentioned, right? This is going to be a global presence for the side of Falcons Vega. The usual counter I see to this, a Minotaur is also a very good counter. Crowd control once everybody comes out of the portal. I see some answers like for MPL ID and MPL PH. Like, I usually see Carmilla answers to like the chip. So that might actually still be a thing for Jewel here. It really depends on what she wants to get. But usually, like, based on like stats, she usually goes for the Minotaur. Oh, there you go.
And the Minotaur it is. Nice prediction.
Yeah, I
So
mean,
the Minotaur is going to be locked in for ONIC here. Definitely, like you mentioned, it can be utilized because of the fact that the chip with the global present relies on the clumping up of all the 5 members when they go in through the portal. That actually can be utilized and can be capitalized over the remaining teams, right? We have the Terizla with the penalty zone, definitely can play into that role. We have the Minotaur as well with the knock-up and the Minoan Fury. So that definitely has some leeway, and there's obviously some opportunities for Onyx Zol to capitalize over the chip pick here.
yeah, I'm looking at this, right? 2 CC picks coming out from the side of Onyx Zol, which is a good counter to the chip pick here. And at the same time, they can kind of exert a lot of pressure as well onto the sides, because honestly, the chip can really get so annoying. I've never gone up against it in ranked games. I've only gone up against it once, and it was really so frustrating, right? Like, you don't know where all of these heroes are coming from. The chip rotates so fast. I think there was also a time that it was a meta here in the Philippine MLBB scene, the Philippine female MLBB scene to be exact, the Loy chip combo, but that was already banned out. So Now it's gonna be up to the gold laners, so they're taking away Rian's heroes this time.
Harith has been banned out here by Falcons, but remember the Export was also a really big ban from ONIC Zol because in that EXP lane, the Charizla and the Export does a little bit better and can definitely punish the Charizla as well as the Minotaur. So taking that away from Falcon definitely is a big priority.
Yeah. Now final bans for both sides. Again, this could still be a flex pick here, Eternal. Like, remember, the Roger can still go to the jungle position here, which is something that teams like Smart Omega does. Like, they go pick up the Roger for the jungler and pick up another gold laner. Glass cannon cap of composition. Last ban for the side of Onyx Sol. They're just gonna take away another possibility here. So okay, I think they're anticipating the fact that okay, it might just be a flex pick here for the Roger. We'll take out the Martis, we'll take out all the possible options. And now for Falcons Vega, they're just gonna be limiting Rian's hero pool here, which means that the only option left to take is the Claude. I'd say it's a very good answer to like to pretty much anything in the draft. It's so mobile, it can dish out a good amount of damage when it comes to the late game, and I think Rian's pretty comfortable with that.
It's also very versatile, right? That's what I love about the Claude, because even if things go kind of not in the way that you'd want, especially in the later stage of the game, in the team fights, you can always go for a split push meta that we've seen so often with the Claude going in with the back doors. So that's definitely something that they can utilize. Obviously, if they want to go head to head in the early game, they could try with the Brody. It is a lot more risky against the Roger, but they go for the Barats first.
Yeah, this should be the pick of Bene here. So I think that's what they were going for. So they're kind of like trying to make Falcons Vega think, okay, what is this Minotaur? What is this Charizla, right? Or where's it gonna go? So now with the Barrets being locked in, this kind of signals that this is gonna be Onyx Zol's jungler. And now for Falcons Vega, their last two picks, they still need a possible gold laner if this Roger's gonna go through the jungle, or perhaps like pick up a very good XP laner to go up against the Charizla. The only thing here for Onyx Sol is the difference that they have up against Falcons Vega is they don't really have a coach to do the drafting for them. So it's pretty much what they're yeah. So they don't have a coach right now, as far as I know. So they're really drafting it themselves. So if you can see where they're at right now, it's just the five of them drafting this.
Oh, interesting. But the drafts though,
Yeah.
Alpha, as well as the
Jungle.
Edith and the Moskov last picked in the gold lane. Now this is going to be a very interesting matchup because technically the Alpha does great against heroes like the Baxia and the Barats. So they're trying to level that up in the playing field, especially when it comes down to these utility takes, as well as the Roger and the Moskov. Now the Moskov is great with the CC, the click point CC against the Roger, but in the early game the Roger does a little bit better in terms of damage. So the skill matchup between both of these gold laners from both of these teams is something that I will be looking forward to.
Yeah, honestly, you did mention about the Roger, right? Like, it's so good in the early up until the mid game, and you know that you're going up against a Moskov that pretty much needs the items. Oh wait, I stand corrected. I actually saw Coach Jimmy, who used to coach Onyx Zol when they were back in their back in the roster that they had before, which was Risk. So he's actually assisting the team. So it's good to have a coach like this, somebody who knows your history, somebody who knows your comfort. But ladies and gentlemen, we're now gonna go into the Land of Dawn. This is gonna be the first game between Falcons Vega and Onyx Zol, the two teams who are vying for that one slot to go to Riyadh this year.
Let's see who's going to be able to lead this best of 3 series between the Indonesian representatives as well as the Filipino representatives. As we can see, both junglers already starting out on different buffs. Caramel opted to go for the purple buff before the orange, and it was the exact opposite route for Bene on the Barrets.
Yeah, I'm not so sure if Onyx Zol is just going to let Falcons Vega like go for the prio position onto the turtle, right? Like Ben is going for that kind of rotation, going to the gold lane. So like some teams actually do that. Like they let go of the turtle, maybe perhaps gank in the gold lane. Speaking of the ganks though, like the top side, it is going to be Rian a little bit in trouble there. Like the chip's gonna be so hard to deal with, right? It has that knock up. You got that Roger that can kind of pounce on you at any time. So far it is currently Falcons Vega that has the gold lead here. Caramel already reached that level 4 power spike.
Oh.
flicker out. One resource use away from the side of Onyx Zol.
That's already very aggressive rotations coming in from Falcons Vega, understanding that they do have that level 4 power spike that they need to wait for, right? But meanwhile, in the bottom lane,
Okay, that was the portal I saw being used by Tao. And just like that, we're gonna go into a quick technical pause first, once again, to let the players check on what they need to check before the first turtle fight, actually.
we want to make sure that all the players, everyone involved, as well as you guys back at home watching the tournament right now, gets the best viewing experience. And of course, for the players, the best playing experience, because sportivity is our utmost priority, ladies and gentlemen, as we are going to take a technical pause. But we'll resume in a quick moment. But meanwhile, we do have a little bit more to talk about for the early stage of the game. In terms of emblem choice, I thought it was very interesting for the Vexana to go for tenacity in the early game.
Oh, I've seen this meta, Eternal. Like, it's a tank Vixen. I don't think it's going to be built that way, though, here in this game. But I've seen some players actually use this, and it kind of gets irritating, right? Like, Vixana is a hero that dishes out a lot of damage, and with the tenacity, right? It's not going to be so easy to reach her. You have the Eternal Guard, you also have the tenacity, so it's not going to be easy to take it down. So I think that's what they're going for here, since it seems like Falcons Vega wants to go for that early game type of thing. So tenacity is going to be really important too to have.
Yeah, in the early game, tenacity does give a lot of benefits in terms of control of the damage that is being hit on towards you. And I think as well, because of the matchup in the mid lane against the Valentina, who was very aggressive with the what would you call it? The side steps. Oh yeah.
Yeah,
the
the
side
1-2.
steps.
I call it like the 1-2 combo,
Yeah,
because
the
honestly, that's
1-2 combo.
because that's what the Vixana, that's what
Valentina.
the Valentina does, right? Like, it only does like 1-2, and then okay, when it needs the ultimate, okay, that's when I pop in skill number 3. She's pretty much that kind of hero.
Yeah, but the Valentina does have a lot of wave clear Minotaur as well. So the Vexana, the Agatha, she's trying to respect as well the damage in the mid lane that will be given towards her, especially when they're going for the mid clear prio.
Okay, so it seems like this gold lane is going to be safe and sound right now. There might be a huge fight though on the XP. Nobody has reached that level 4 yet. So both for for Rain rather, and Attorney Ang. So it's actually going to be Falcons Vega that has that wave clear first. So they were able to clear out that lane, get that level 4, and now Bene in trouble here right now. Caramel goes in for the ultimate. Attorney Ang going to be able to soak up all of the damage. Trying to go for the penalty zone here. It's not available. And she's going to be first one to fall. First blood going to get taken in here by Falcons Vega. Care of Chin Chow. Caramel secures in that turtle, as the rest of Onyx Zol going to be able to back away.
This is the snowball that the Roger can give you in these team fights, right? It was a 5v4 situation, but of course the trade-off, other than everything we saw happening just now, is the fact that the Moskov was very free in the gold lane to go in for the farm and also take a little bit of that gold shield turret. We see Tal immediately go towards in this top lane to try and go for a punish onto Rian, but doesn't quite get it just yet.
Yeah, now with this global presence, right? Like, Tal is just like, okay, you need help here? Nope. Okay, I'm gonna go to the bottom side of the map, maybe go into the mid side. So it's just really good to have this chip, right? Like, you kind of know what's going on in every single part of the map. Not to mention that it has a very, very good amount of damage too with its knock up here. So it's a very good pick coming out from Falcons Vega. And right now, Onyx All, they're in a pickle on what to do next, right? Like, they've been kind of zoned out from the turtle, and so far it is Falcons Vega that has secured it.
Because basically, if we're talking about Onyx Zol, their winning condition is towards the later stage of the game. All they need to do is try and weather out the storm of the early and the mid game that, of course, Falcons Vega can protrude on towards them. And the fact is that they need to try and look for a way to slow down the snowballing from happening from Falcons Vega, because that's exactly what's happening right now, right? A 1k gold lead already built up. We have the Roger already given the first blood as well, so already some kills onto the Roger. So the later this game goes, it will favor Onyx Zol. All they need to do is try and weather out the storm.
Yeah, the early game's going to be very crucial for Onyx Zol to be able to kind of have that power spike in the late game. So it's going to rely on Rian, the Moskov here, which they really need to be protecting here at this point. So I think for Onyx All, the best case scenario is perhaps to try and aid Rian, because I've seen them do this several times in different tournaments. Like try to assist their gold lane, not go for the objectives, and just make sure that their gold laner is farmed up so that they're able to get in the win.
But we are, ladies and gentlemen, in a technical pause, but we are going to be right back into the game very soon. Of course, priority is our players at the moment. Of course, you guys at home watching, but we're getting straight into the game. 3 minutes has elapsed in this first game of this best of 3 series in match number 2.
Okay, looking at how this is going to be played out, Caramel actually going to be positioning herself over to this side. Like, I mean, this is where the gold lane is. They need to have their focus there. It seems like they might actually gank Rian there on the top side, while the rest of Onyx all going to be able to clear out that lane. Falcons Vega has control so far in terms of the gold, 1,400 going to 1,500. And I think, okay, they're doing this diamond type of move onto Rian. Right now, going to be able to knock them back in. There goes the knockup from the Minoans. Fury here from Jewel. Nice setup play. Caramel's going to be the first one to fall. Violet as well, going to be able to sustain the damage. There goes the ultimate coming out from the Eden. Going to be able to flicker out to safety. Only one casualty here for the side of Falcons Vega.
That was a very, very risky play by Falcons Vega to go for a dive under turret, and unfortunately, Onyx Zoal were so great at that counter engage. The fact that the Minions Fury from Jewel was able to knock these members up under the turret, deal that damage, gave Falcons Vega an unfavorable trade. So that initial 1k gold lead that they were able to build up from the early game has now diminished to only a 300. And now both of these teams are going to be posturing around the next little objective. The turtle is up, and remind you guys, Bene is one level below of Caramel.
Yep, there goes Attorney Ang. They have to weather the storm, and that's exactly what the Filipinos are good at. We have so many storms coming in here, the country, and I'm pretty sure that Onyx Zol can weather it through. Finally, they get in the turtle, and it's all because of that setup play that Falcons Vega did right on the top side. Everyone was chunked down real low. They went back to the base, which gave Onyx Zol a much better position in the turtle.
Great timing by Onyx Zoal. Beautiful, right? And again, that gold lead is slowly disappearing for Falcons Vega. Onyx Zoal now hold on to the cards, and looks like they're putting some focus into the gold lane, seeing as Chin Chao already picked up another item with the golden staff. So that's heading towards the power spec that Chin Chao requires, but wait a second.
Okay, Bena, going to be able to get in the Spear of Alpha there. There goes the Eternal Guard as well from the backside. Bene is taken down real low. Tal going to be able to get up the kill onto Bene. Attorney Ang as well working onto Agata. Will be able to pick up that kill as well. And now Rain, Violet going to be able to work in that Primal Bat to super low HP. Going to be using it at 1-2 combo, but from the backside, Rian going to be able to pick up that double kill. 3 for the price of 2. And I would say that was a pretty good bounce back from the side of Onyx Zol.
Again, right? These team fights have not been working in favor of Falcons Vega. Every time they look for initiation, it looks like Onyx Zoal with the Minotaur, with all these utility tools that they have in their arsenal, with the composition that they brought, have been able to get a better ground in these team fights. And ultimately, they're slowly but surely giving over the control, the tempo back to Onyx Zoal. Falcons Vega, they're losing control, and Onyx Zoal pick up the tempo in the 6th minute of the game.
Yeah, pretty interesting too that Rain is the one who has been dishing out the most damage, right? Like she's picked up the magic penetration boots instead of the cooldown boots that you'd usually see on the Valentina, since we know that the cooldown time is a bit more longer this time after the nerfs that it has received. So now we go into the last turtle here, Eterna. Onyx gonna be able to start that up. Tal as well, giving vision to the entire team. Falcons Vega, they know they have to secure this as well, because Onyx all, they definitely need to do this. Authority Ang gonna be first target here. All the ultimates being invested onto her, and she's able to still survive. And they go in for the counterplay. You know, it's Fury by Jewel. Everybody's knocked down real low. Conceal play has been made here as well. Jewel's gonna be taken down, but look at Rian from the backside. Gonna be able to get in another kill, but there's the shutdown by Chin Chao. 3 versus 4 as Onyx, they're left with 2 members here in the turtle pit, and it's all because of the initiation started by Attorney Ang.
Complete reset on the turtle, the last turtle of the game, ladies and gentlemen, a for 2-2 trade. And initially, that was such a great play by Rian, using the Spear of Misery to go into the back line and dish out the damage, but unfortunately, in a 1v2 situation, that damage was not enough. Ultimately, gonna be able to buy enough time for Onyx Zol to pick up the last neutral objective there before the Lord spawns, and that does put Onyx Zol in a better condition now for the next few minutes of the game. But meanwhile, Jinchao gonna be trading quite well in the top lane and picking up a turret.
Okay, Violet spots in Rian here. And now they're looking to take this tower on the bottom side, kind of like mirroring the move that Chin Chao is doing there on the top side. They should be able to do so, but let's not forget, Falcons Vega has a global presence here with Thal. Gonna be able to use that Eternal Guard. Rain as well, gonna be able to pick up the ultimate coming in from the side of Falcons Vega. And despite all of that, Eterna, it's just 1,000 gold lead here for Falcons Vega.
But the problem is, I think Jinchao already has 2 items. I don't know if they have the 3rd item or what kind of build she's going for, but DHS as well as the Golden Staff already in the belt of Jinchao right now, and Rian is still far from that power spike. So what we were worried about for Onyx Zol in that mid game to the early game, despite all these team fights going in favor of Onyx Zol, the fact is they haven't been able to shut down Jinchao, and now Jinchao is ready for these team fights. 202 KDA so far, and it looks like they're looking for a play here with all those 3 members in that bush. Are they looking for a play in the mid lane maybe?
Yeah, they were trying to go in for some type of play there, right? Like care of Thal, but no one initiated because like several times they tried to do that, but they failed to do so. But instead, you know what? They're just gonna go for the neutral objectives here. And it's a good call for Onyx Zol. Like, I mean, Falcons Vega can keep doing this, right? Remember, they do have that chip that can just send anyone through the portal and just clear out the lane. So they really have that sense of urgency as well to be able to take in all of those turrets. But right now, so far, Onyx Zol has managed to maintain their ground here, able to farm up pretty well. And it's not that far of a lead, just an 800 lead here by Falcons Vega.
This is such a close game, honestly. From game number 1, we kind of already knew where the direction was kind of heading for match number 1 between those previous 2 teams. Ooh, Flicker already burnt out. That's a big resource wasted in for Falcons Vega right before they go in for the neutral objective take on that Lord. But for this particular game, the back and forth has been quite steady. And now Caramel at level 13, meanwhile Bene at level 12. Agatha though?
Okay, she was trying to escape, but yeah, Onyx Zol was able to take her down, and that's 1 member down right before the Lord Day. So I think that was either a misposition, miscommunication from the side of Falcons Vega, and just like that, Onyx Zol will be able to take in this first Lord of the game.
Caramel is 2 levels above right now of Bene. Falcons Vega should have had priority on that neutral objective. But that kill over to Agatha, that was just the nail in the coffin for them.
Yeah, that was huge, right? For Onyx Zol. Like right after they took down Agatha there, they were just like, okay, let's just go for the Lord. The rest of the members there of Falcons Vega were just a little bit too far from that Lord pit. So yeah, right now we're in a technical pause, and both of the teams still need to fix there's everything that they need to fix before we head on to this still the first game of our best out of 3. And so far it seems like Onyx Zol has the control despite the fact that Falcons Vega has that gold lead. And right now this first Lord of the game, not the luminous one, can be able to help them at least push the turrets or at least pressure in the side lanes that Falcons Vega has been taking so far this entirety of the game.
For sure. But of course, Falcons, with the composition, do have the high ground. They do have a good wave clear as well. So it's up to Onyx Zol to figure out a way on how to go in for the siege, seeing as the Moskov... I mean, I'm not really sure yet. We're going to take a look at the items for the Moskov later on. I hope we get to sneak peek as to whether or not the Moskov has reached the item power spike yet or not. But if not, Moskov's still not ready for these team fights.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen that power spike that Rian had earlier on, right? Like she was able to pick up a double, was able to at least like take down 3 members of Falcons Vega once they're like mispositioned or once they try to make in a play that can backfire on them. And so far, like I would still say the late game kind of sort of favors Onyx Zol here and what they're trying to go for. So they're still fine, but the biggest problem that they have to face right now is going to be the Roger. of Chinchao that does not have any deaths just yet. 202 on the Roger, and we all know, like we've all seen, how Chell was able to pull that off in the first series, right?
Mm-hmm. For sure. We just got an update here, ladies and gentlemen. For the Moskov, for Rian, it looks like she has already built the Golden Staff, DHS, and the Corrosion Scythe. So that 3-item power spike is already there. But looking at the composition, maybe she would want to go a little bit more defensive, maybe on the way towards the 1 for a little bit more safety in these team fights. But according to the 3-item power spike, she's already hit it. So this might be a big siege for ONIC Zol.
Yeah, and she's also rocking in a basic common emblem at that, right? Am I right? Yeah, it is a basic emblem on the Moskov. I guess it's to aid the mana region as well. So I mean, she has it all so far. Like the key items that the Moskov needs to have, which kind of explains that power spike she had mid game. So right now, maybe try to go for maybe a Wind of Nature. I'm not so sure what she's building for her next item. Is it a Malefic Roar or is it like more damage item, right? And I do agree, you need that defensive item right now since Falcon's Vega seems to be dishing out a lot of damage already.
Yeah, with the Roger already at the power spike, you would want to respect that damage coming through because previously in the team fight, when she used a spear to go into the backline to deal the damage onto the backline, that would have worked well now, right? With the power spike, with the 3 items already built in. But earlier on, she wasn't there just yet, so that's why she was taken down. But if she pulls in a similar strategy again, that just might be the end of Falcon's backline and basically the end of the team fight.
Yeah, I think it has to be timed really well, right? Like all of the ultimates here coming out from Onyx All, even from the side of Falcons Vega, it has to be executed really well. If not, like you can see like a counter setup that's going to be made by the other team. And so far, I think all the team sites have been very clean. I can't really tell like who has the upper hand. So far, it's Onyx All. They have secured in the Lord, but in terms of the lead, in terms of the turrets, it seems to be very even out.
Yeah, it can swing both ways, but like you mentioned, right? Late game gonna be held on by Onyx Zol, so it's up to Falcons Vega to try and close this game as soon as possible. And the fact that they let go of the Lord with the play from Agatha, it was just brutal to their gameplay, to the entire strategy that they built in from the early stage of the game. That flicker that was burnt out in the mid lane preemptively was huge, right? Because if she had the flicker in the Lord pit when she was taken down, that was the way that she would have been able to get out of that situation. But because she burnt the flicker earlier on and because she got caught in the Lord pit that eventually took her down, that was a Lord that was meant for Falcons.
Yeah, I think she was trying to go for the flicker Eternal Guard play. Like that was a possibility, right? Because Onyx All was like grouped up together at that point. So I'm not sure if it was a play that everybody agreed on for Falcons Vega, or was it a play that Agatha wanted to do on her own, right? Like thinking that she could pull it off. But then again, it's still the first game, right? The momentum is going to be very important. They're very crucial here for both sides. And we're seeing like a switch between the player camps of both Onyx All and Falcons Vega. It seems like everybody's playing in the same place, which is good. Like most of the time I see like either one player is playing from somewhere else, but this is a huge boost Eternal, like everybody playing all together at the same place at the same boot camp.
Yeah, there's always issues with communication sometimes, and like even with the support that isn't there when you guys aren't in one. All these things like factor into your gameplay, because we've seen some teams actually do great when they're grouped together, but as soon as they're separated or they play on the stage, it just isn't the same, their performance and their gameplay. So to see them all together, and they all look pretty calm, pretty chill. As ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna go straight into the game here. 10 minutes has elapsed and we're gonna get right back into it.
Yeah, just like that, Onyx Zol, after taking in that Lord, they melt down that mid tower. Huge for their side. They got the Lord advantage here as well. I believe Rian and even Attorney Ang should be able to push out at least the sides, give in that breathing space for the side of Onyx Zol. You see the presence as well being made. I think for Onyx Zol, they need to be wary as well of the portals that Thal will be doing here.
Jewel got taken out? How? Did you see that happening? How
I
did
think
that happen?
it was off cam, right? Like how did that? Oh no, she was spotted by Tal, and then eventually, like everybody used the ultimate, right? So I'm not again, I'm not so sure if it came from the side of Falcons Vega or Onyx Zol. So this is the second time it happened. This time from Onyx Zol.
Oh, wow. What? That's a big pickoff as we get into the technical pause. I wish I could get a replay of what happened there.
Yeah, it was so fast, right? Like in a blink of an eye, it was like Jules gone. I didn't even see she was gone yet because I was so busy looking at Falcons Vega, right? They were already grouping up. So I think they were trying to make a play, and then they spot Jewel in the bush, and then they just decide to, use up all of the ultimates on her.
And that's before they push in with the Lord.
Yeah.
They're gonna need Jewel. Just in case Falcons Vega go in for an engage. The counterplay from the Minotaur is so imperative in these team fights that without her, I don't think that they can maximize on that Lord push.
Yeah, even I think Jewel here is pretty surprised. She's right there in the middle of where everybody is. I mean, it's just understandable. She is the roamer, right? Like she is the one kind of giving the information to the rest of her team, and she's also pretty surprised. So I think there was some she needed to fix some stuff there before we head over into the Lord fight. But yeah, this has been like a seesaw battle between like the pauses that we've been having, right? Like all of the exciting moments that have been swimming here and there. So yeah, let's take a look at that replay once again. I mean, Eterna was confused. I was also confused. We have to take a closer look at that, of what happened just there. Okay, there was the flicker. I think that was a flicker play by Agatha, trying to go for the Eternal Guard, and right after that, it just went to the side of Onyx All. Eventually, after they picked off Agatha, they just went for the Lord.
The flicker was burnt out before they went in for this engage, so she got stuck in the skill from the Barats, and she eventually got taken down.
She was trapped basically in the Lord pit.
And because she used the flicker earlier on in the mid lane in the bush, if you recall, she couldn't use the flicker to get out of that team fight. And then in a 4v5, even though Caramel had the 2-level lead, they didn't want to go for the contest. They didn't want to go for the risk.
Yeah, I actually thought she was trying to make a play there, because it makes sense, right? Like if you think about it, like, okay, why was the flicker burned there? Because it had like 120 seconds before it was still available. So I thought she was trying to go for a play. But this time, it's actually Jewel. Let's see if we can have an instant replay of what went down there. But I believe everybody used the ultimates. This is huge, right, Eterna? They need to have that front line. Now it will be in the form of Bennis, Barrett's, and Attorney Ang's Teresa to go in for the front line here. But this is just the first sword, so I think Falcons Vega should be able to take this down very quickly. And at the same time, it's quite unfortunate that Onyx All didn't push forward anymore, knowing for a fact that they don't have Jewel on their side.
Oh no, Val use the flicker to get out of that. Ooh, that was close. That was a 4v1 situation. Wow. All right, but again, right? Without Jewel, they weren't able to utilize or capitalize over the Lord that they were able to get. So basically, we're back to zero. We're back to square one. A complete reset for both of these teams. Qin Chao now picking up as well the next item in her arsenal. And it was just an unfortunate kill over to Jewel after the play onto Agatha.
Yeah, a lot of ultimates being invested. The conceal play is also gone here from Tal, as well as the flicker, right? And now I think this is one of the moments during the game that it gets really slow. We're kind of waiting for a play to happen, and there's so many possibilities here. They're not the teleportation coming out from Tal, the play coming out from Jewel. So I think all these dead bushes will be important, or they have to take note of that. I think Onyx All is really preparing for any type of play that's going to be made here by Falcons Vega.
Yeah, you can see the way that they're posturing, right? They're anticipating that
they
Tal
are.
will be roaming around these bushes, and the rotations are coming through so well. We can see them opening up the bushes one by one to make sure that Tal is there. But honestly, Tal's just here, meanwhile, in the bush doing nothing, right? So the mental exhaustion that you have to go through going against the chip is already enough strategy to try and manipulate the opponent, and you can see it coming through for Onyx Zol.
Yeah, it's like the lowly diversion play, right? Like it's
Yes.
kind of like asking, like you're going on a family trip. It's kind of like asking, are we there yet, or can we go yet? I think that's pretty much what Tal is trying to do here. Can we go for the engage yet? And it's been like how many minutes? And it's honestly, yeah, it's really tiring. The mind games that the Falcons Vegas doing, as well as Onyx All, because they're being very careful at this point, right? Knowing that there can be some ganks that will be made here by Falcons Vega. Not to mention that the wave management is so much better on the side of Falcons Vega. Now the first Lord is up, second Lord rather. The Luminous one for both sides pick up. Earlier it was Onyx All that picked it up. And right now let's see who will take the second one. It seems like Onyx All is in a much better position to take this though.
Oh, so the fourth item from Rian was actually not the Wind of Nature, but actually
See Halberd.
Sea Halberd.
Yeah.
Makes
Very
sense.
interesting.
It does make sense because I mean there's so many regen heroes here. Caramel, you got Tal that's really tanky, so you really do need these items, but wow, look at how Chin Chao is just working there. He doesn't even care about the Lord Pit fight. He just knows that Falcon's Baby can take it down or perhaps like deal with this on their own. She's just gonna push the turret. She's just go for a split push here, forcing the rest of the members of Onyx Zol to actually take control of that situation. But right now it's gonna be the Lord fight here for both sides. Bene gonna try her very best to get in this Lord. It's already at 1/4 HP. It's gonna be Agatha this time. That will be taking that in for the side of Falcons Vega for the price of Bene and a Torny Ang as well. Jewel really in a bad spot as Chin Chao will be able to pick up that triple kill for the side of Falcons Vega.
That was a bait! That entire play in the bottom lane was a
end
bait
this.
to separate them. Jin Chao completely utilized, outplayed Onyx Zol, and now they're gonna be able to end this and lead this best of 3 series.
Okay, they're not even gonna wait for the Lord here. They're just gonna take it up as Falcons Vega finally pull off the biggest heist for today. And that was right before the last Lord. They get in the first game of the series.